people still joining us here. Trying to get everybody in here. And then I'll be texting a couple that aren't in yet. Okay, Peter's here. Very good. Okay, so why don't we start off doing this? Let's go around and just share your name and what city you're from, and share a little bit about maybe this past year. If you can take about a minute max, share about this past year and maybe what you've done, what you can, what you could have done, or maybe well, not what you could have done, but what you did do. And maybe give me back approximately about how many volunteers you had too. That I'm just every year I always try to add them up so we can communicate that. And then share about next year's plans. So your name, city, what's been going on this year, and what you're thinking of what next year's going to look like. So on my little screen here, I see Mandy. You're first.
All right. Hi, I'm Mandy. I'm from Placentia, California, which is in Orange County. And this year would have been our 5th year. So next year, hopefully will be your 5/6 now, depending on how you count. We obviously did not have our big event. Ours was supposed to be in April. So we haven't really done much this year. We've continued to encourage people to find the nonprofits in our city that are still doing things for during COVID to be involved, but we have not done any specific Love Placentia events in 2020. The one thing we have continued to do is we have what are called blessing boxes in our city, which are honor system food pantries. And those have been very popular over the last few months. And so we continue to maintain those and have groups that are helping us to do that. But our hope is to do an event in April of 2021. What that looks like, obviously we don't have, we don't know for sure. At this point, I'm assuming that we'll at least be able to do small work projects. Whether or not we can do a rally, that remains to be seen. But at one point, we'd hoped to possibly do something this fall. But our school district and our city were just so overwhelmed just keeping up with the day-to-day that the thought of trying to even engage in figuring out how to do a joint something was just too much to even consider currently. Plus a number of our church leaders, including myself, the things that we're doing in our churches just were kind of overwhelming as well. So it just wasn't the right season to keep up with all the changes and everything that we have been doing to keep going. So hoping for something in 2021.
Very, very good. Sandy, Los Baños.
There we go. Los Baños City took a very restrictive approach to the coronavirus. I think we were more shut down than other places in California, which is hard to believe. There's lots of fear of the coronavirus here, which is sad. We want to be cautious, but people kind of have gone overboard. So what we've been doing is no big events at all. We plan on regrouping in January with some churches. We've been trying to do outside activities at the churches for the homeless. We do lots of drive-through food days, and we're doing free outside clothing clothing days where people can come and get stuff, but it's very small because there's, again, still lots of restrictions. You have to have very small groups. A lot of the nonprofits are just trying to hang on at this point. Hopefully things will get better. And it's been interesting. Volunteers, there's been a great volunteer shortage. And again, a lot of it has to do with the fear. But God did not give us a spirit of fear, but of love, power, and a sound mind. But a lot of people don't believe that. So there you have it.
Yeah. Thank you, Sandy. All right, Stephanie.
Okay, I'm Stephanie. I'm from San Luis Obispo. I have another person that partners with me, Chris Blake. Did Chris ever show up? Has he showed up yet?
Not yet.
Okay, good. I'll harass him about it. Anyway, but the two of us have been doing it for about 6 years in San Luis Obispo. I mean, I'm echoing what everybody's saying is it's been a real challenge this year in our area. Churches are open, they're closed. Restaurants are open, they're closed. I mean, it's been something different every single day. So we've been trying to navigate that. And to be quite honest, we've just put pause on Love Slow right now to try to figure out how all this is going to start being more consistent so we can start wrapping our minds around what we will be able to do. You know, Chris and I have been having conversations, and I know we talked about this too, I think at our last meeting of, you know, how do you do a rally differently? Do you do a Zoom rally? And then we go out and go into our different nonprofits and work for the nonprofits and stuff. So Chris and I are trying to see if we can get something together this spring. And we've been brainstorming a little bit with what that looks like, but we haven't nailed down any specific details yet. But it is our hope that we can continue to maybe, at least on a small scale, start it up again.
Sounds good. Thank you, Stephanie. All right, Michelle.
I'm Michelle. I'm from Sacramento, and this would have been our second year for, we call it Love Natomas in our community, our little suburb of Sacramento. And I just kind of stepped into this role, so really I've got no clue. But it's, you know, yay, right? Jobs have been, and roles have been moved around and are super fluid. But I'm just rolling with it, and I'm excited. We've been doing some partnering with other groups that are doing service projects. So we've probably had 100 or 120 volunteers show up between us and different organizations to do like parking lot cleanups and homeless camps that have moved out, like cleaning up after that, and just trying to keep our city cleaned up. I don't know where everyone else is, but we've got a major, it's a major problem with like homelessness right now in our area. So, but we've been doing those things, and then we partner with CityServe, and we get USDA Farms to Families food boxes, and every week we've been passing out sometimes 1,600, sometimes closer to 3,000 food boxes every week to different churches and families and schools and nonprofits. And we're hoping that this year we'll be doing our Love Natomas event in May, but
okay.
Yeah.
Very good. Thank you, Michelle. Mm-hmm. Peter.
Here we go. So I'm in Patterson, California. So I'm west of where Jeff is. And we got involved in the Love Our Neighbors thing when that first came up, when the COVID stuff hit. And we kind of, as a community here, fell into actually having a food pantry. So there's a bunch of pastors, we get together and pray every week, called Church Without Walls. And we just noticed that there were some people who needed food. So we provided food for 10 families. And then the thing just took off. And so at our church site, we have a food pantry that has now been going for 7 months. We provide food for anywhere from 100 to 195 families every week. And we've tapped in a lot of different food sources, and it's literally a loaves and fishes kind of thing where the food is gone and then we get new food the next week. And we do have a group of volunteers that are faithful every Monday, Wednesday. They come and for an hour prepare boxes based on what we have. And then for an hour we hand out food. And then as they drive through, they get prayed for. And so the relationships that have developed over the last 7 months, it's just amazing. People are actually valuing the prayer more than the food. And then the other thing that's been neat is our whole city's got involved with it. So, I mean, we have churches involved, but the Lions Club is involved. They started donating $1,000 a month towards some of our food expenses, so we get more food. The Chamber of Commerce, schools. And so it's just been neat to see people join community of faith and meeting the needs of others. And so for us right now, we just recognize this is an ongoing thing, and it's going to continue. So for us right now, we're trying to get more churches to kind of buy in. A church would take a week, so this is more sustainable. And so in terms of things ahead, we just recognize God's in this. And on the west side of our county, we are the food pantry. So we don't really have any plans to do anything beyond that right now, realizing this in itself is a very unifying thing. And the city is recognizing that the church is showing up and loving them.
Awesome, Peter. And you work with that Caesar guy too, don't you?
Yeah. So
Awesome.
New Life has a satellite campus in our town, and they've been actively involved. And then Caesar's involved. And
awesome.
Yeah, and then the other thing that's just a cool thing is we're keeping track of the money that comes in donation-wise. We've had over $15,000 donated by the community to support this, so that that helps pay for people to go do shopping for those who can't donate food. So it's pretty cool.
It's awesome. Like your hat too.
Yep.
Ken.
I was on another page and you have to unmute yourself and it's just complicated. So my name is Ken Sylvia. I'm the Executive Director of Youth for Christ in the greater Modesto, Merced, whatever other area. We're kind of spread out. But I am actually here on a partnership capacity with Love Series. I'm from this area my whole life, and there's a few other pastors who really kind of tried to rekindle the Love Series event. Because we're a smaller town, we've decided to shift to I think we decided December 5th or December 12th. It's in my calendar. But what we're going to do is there's a massive soccer complex. And so either we're going to do, if regulations allow, like basically booths where people can go for different types of food supplies or clothing or what other kind of needs. We're working on getting like Bibles and other like counseling services, just things that we can do. So if people, almost like a fair of sorts, if that makes sense, not a job fair, but you know what I mean? So the hope is that we can attract people and make it like a taste and see of doing an actual launch of an actual Love Series in the future. We're hoping that this is more of a, Love Series. Yeah, we used to do that, right? And so we're kind of hoping this is more of a igniter of sorts to get other people involved. We felt it was going to be way too complicated to try to make it with a lot of overhead, a lot of administrative stuff. We just want to keep it simple. There's a few churches involved just to get the word out, and then hopefully as word spreads, we can say, oh yeah, sign up for next year. Let's make it bigger and better. So that's where we're at. So December 5th, December 12th, it's, I'll look at my calendar and put it in the chat in case you're interested.
Thank you. All right, Lynn.
Hi, I'm Lynn Heatley with Love Riverside. Riverside's Southern California, pretty big county, but our city is what I'm involved with, and city's big too. But normally we started in 2015, so this is our 5th year. We normally do our event in October. Last couple of years, we added a spring event that we called Love Our Schools, where we did projects specifically with the schools. This year with COVID, a whole different transition journey happened, like some of you have shared. After, I would say, the first couple of months of COVID, where we're all trying to figure out if we're living or dying or what, because it was scary. And I'm also a nurse, and so although I just retired, but it was scary those first few months. Then I was like, okay, what can we do? And we've been praying about Love Riverside being something much more year-round for a while. And this was the year that we became year-round activated. And so about June, I felt like God was saying food, just to collect food. Because I was like, well, there's a lot of really good pantries already in our city. There's a lot of amazing nonprofits and all types. So we decided, I decided that we would just simply do, and I had the city's one of our greatest supporters and partners, to just start collecting food, non-perishables, and so once a month we just start doing shout outs to the community through social media. Hey, when you're shopping for your family, can you pick up some extra rice and beans and pasta, etc., and drop it down? So it was a drive-through drop off, very little contact. And the community really rallied and got behind it. So we started doing that monthly, and we started, we're big on collaboration and not recreating things. And so we just started supplementing the shelves of the pantries that were already doing great work weekly. We supplemented those that were doing weekly distribution because their shelves were getting bare. And at the same time, my team was trying to figure out our yearly serve day is always in October. The city did not want us to do a rally or even projects that would gather groups of volunteers. And so we really thought hard and prayed into that. And we did have our serve day just recently on October 10th. And what we ended up doing was, again, kind of a drive-through event. We partnered with 4 other organizations. One on homeless that does placement of homeless into places. So we collected hygiene, household items for them. Another shelter homeless that we collected hygiene for, household hygiene, diapers, because the Junior League hands out diapers every month to families in need. And then again, food. We also encourage people to give blood and just to simply go around their neighborhood, pick up trash, all very, very small, no groups really gathering. We didn't do a rally. And we had a great, great turnout of people driving through and supporting. And all this has led into a deeper even exposure in the city. The city is giving us money. The county wants to give us money. The community is giving us money. It's like just a simple little, yes, let's collect food because I didn't know what else to do, has led into greater partnerships within the community. And so now we're doing food distributions of food boxes as a distributor through the city for 4 months and they're under CARES Act funding. But I had no idea. I didn't start this year thinking I was going to get into food distribution, that's for sure. But, it's these simple little yeses that you do, and God leads you, and all of a sudden it opens up this whole other thing. And we're like, it's a very, food scarcity is a big deal. And if we can provide food and it helps them to pay their monthly rent, or they're not kicked, or whatever. So I hear many of you saying the same thing, and we've watched God do amazing things through this, just our simple yes. And now we're monthly in the midst of stuff. So it's been quite a journey, but our serve day went fine without a rally. It's like social media and everything else. I think they just saw the community coming around and trying to help out in practical ways. And it was a great thing.
So Jeff, I just heard a chapter for your book, Simple Yeses. Simple yeses. Man, that says a lot. God uses small gifts in extraordinary ways. He uses ordinary people to do extraordinary things. And the first thing he has to have from us is yes. What's the question?
Simple yeses. I like that name of that chapter. That's really good. Hey, Lynn, approximately about how many volunteers you think you had this past year in these different volunteer?
I have no idea, but I'll think about that and send you a number, because you're not just talking about volunteers working, you're talking about people driving through and donating, all of that, right? Yeah. I have to think about that, so I'll get back to you on it.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you, Lynn. All right, Amanda.
Hi, I'm Amanda, and I'm in Whittier, California, which is like the bottom edge of LA County. And our event, thankfully, was the first Saturday in March. So literally right before everything shut down. So we were able to continue as normal. We held our event. Since I'm not on like my work computer, I don't have all the exact numbers, but we had probably like 40 to 50 projects, probably 400 to 500 volunteers, connecting with 20 plus organizations in our city. And agencies and stuff. So very thankful that it happened when it did. It was actually a week earlier than we had the year before. So it definitely worked out well. And then since that, we, the main push for Love Whittier is through the church that I work at. And so since then, we've been doing either weekly or like bi-monthly collections of either food, hygiene products, cleaning products. We did school supplies right before school, and then we're distributing those to local agencies, whether it's school districts, a couple local food pantries, some of the foster youth in our community. So that's what we've been focusing on since COVID started, is just providing needs to those agencies that we already partner with and how we can support them through this time. And then for next year, we don't have a date yet. Usually we do like March or April. I know it's going to look different. We're not really sure how, but we'll probably continue with something, just not really sure what yet.
That's amazing. We had another city, the last call, they were right before everything shut down too. And it's like, what did you guys know that we did not know? It's amazing how you're able to do that. Thank you, Amanda. All right, let's see, Katie. Katie La Habra.
Hi.
Hey,
Hi.
Hey, Katie.
Sorry, I'm walking to pick up my class from the bus stop. So once I get all my kids, it's going to be loud.
Oh, okay.
Our event was canceled. Our event is usually at the end of September. And so our city policy was that we had to cancel large events. So what we did is we were able to post different smaller volunteer projects for different groups and small groups that could sign up individually to do it. And it was done over different periods of times, or maybe like a regular shifts, such as like delivering meals to seniors or delivering food boxes from our food pantry to different seniors or different families in need, or even working at our food pantry, things like that.
Very good. Any, what are you thinking about for next year?
So our event will likely be held again in the fall of next year. So our events are always held in September.
You do the fall, okay. Very, very good. All right, thank you, Katie. And Susan.
Hi, so we, you know, I'm going to be honest, sometimes these calls are just a little bit hard because I feel like we look so different than everybody else. We have not had a ton of traction in doing large events ever since we started. I mean, granted, we've only been doing it, we're coming into our third year. But we have been kind of the go-to place for the churches to connect into the needs of the community. So we have kind of, we're super involved with Care Portal as an implementing partner and an agency partner. So we input needs and we find churches and train churches to become part of the Care Portal system, which is a tech platform that connects really specific needs of families to church responders who want to be the front line of care for families in need. So that has really opened a ton of doors in our city with churches and with organizations, the schools. Our largest partnership ongoing is with the schools. So, you know, particularly since COVID happened, but ongoing, we've been really involved with the schools and doing food drives. And we have several on-site school resource centers. And so Love SCV provides a lot of church partners to help meet those needs. So we have not done one huge event. Love SCV does co-sponsor a huge Thanksgiving event where we give Thanksgiving meal kits to families in need. And so this year, I think we're going to be close to 600 families that we're giving Thanksgiving meal kits to. So the school social workers refer in families, and then it just all has to look so different too, right? Like instead of it being a great place to plug volunteers into, we're going with as few volunteers as we can, and everything, you know, we have to go by school rules and do all the training. So it looks really different, but I feel like doors continue to open and the need is definitely there as a connector and as a
an organization that plugs in. And I actually just asked a pastor who's been around in our valley forever and is highly respected and really sees the big picture. And I asked him, I was like, is Love SCV a vanity project? Like, is there a need for us to have this right now? And he said, absolutely. As a neutral convener, we need you there, and we need you there to be giving our churches eyesight outside of what they normally see. And he's like, that's the role you've been playing, and that's what we need to have. And so it was enlightening and encouraging. It doesn't look at all like I thought it was going to look, but it's definitely, I think, still serving a need. So.
Well, that is a great quote. I think I'm seeing the nodding going around this call here. Isn't that a great? That's exactly, I think, what we all been told, right? I think that's why God has us here, especially during these incredibly challenging days, that we are the ones that can convene maybe like no other in our community. We're the ones that can bring peace among all the divisiveness that's going on in our community, you know, and we can bring all kinds of people together, no matter how they vote, you know, we can bring them together, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another chapter. Church eyesight. That's what a great visual. The things they cannot see. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Wait, let me share a little bit about in Modesto. So you all know I live here in Modesto. Actually, I live in Riverbank, but it's, well, whatever. It's all the same here in this area. But I also lead, obviously, Love Our Cities as a whole. But so we have a working model here, and that we started 12 years ago, and then out of this came Love Our Cities. So I'm definitely in touch with what's going on, you know, and leading a volunteer movement that we're trying to do here. So this last year, I wasn't as wise as Amanda was to plan this 1 week before everything shut down. So we did have to postpone we had April, we have to postpone it to October. And, you know, now I don't even know if we're going to be able to do it. And like, you know, it was hard. I mean, to work with city and county and all that, but they really encouraged this. They said, our community needs something positive. We need this. So all we get is negative news. Just do it right. Do it with social distancing, do it with masks, hand sanitizer. Let's just do all the safety protocol. So we pulled it off, and we had over 3,000 people that came out, not all at one place for sure, but all these small different projects and drop-offs and all these creative COVID kind of projects, these, you know, creative ways. And some of them were able to do beautification outside that we've always done, but no inside projects. Everything was outside and done in some really creative ways. So we had over 50 projects, way smaller than obviously a normal, you know, time, but yet it still was really encouraging. We did a virtual rally before virtual rally at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, meet at your project location. Virtual rally, no doubt, lacked what a in-person on stage in front of thousands of people lack. You know, it's not the same, but you know what? It worked. It worked for this year. And this is what God wanted this year. And I think the idea to encourage and inspire people before they go out, I think was a really good thing. We had over 250 businesses and organizations and congregations involved to really try to bring the whole community together in that way. The survey results indicated that, you know, nearly 100% of the volunteers enjoyed their project. They felt their project was successful in helping those in need, and are planning to continue to volunteer. And so the impact was there. And then I'm just giving you some of these ways I would encourage you to communicate this in ways to your community, to your sponsors, donors, just to your community. You know, amount of volunteers, the amount of projects, how many different organizations involved, survey results, like, you know, the amount of impact. If you've been through theory of change, you know that the amount of impact is really important, to know that these volunteers had a great experience and they really helped, and they plan on continuing to volunteer is huge. The other final thing is financial numbers, not so much as donors, but volunteer hours. So I want to share the screen with you. And I don't know if you heard this from me before, hey, guess what? You can hear it again. But I don't think I've talked about this much before. If you go to independent sector, the value of volunteer time, the current estimated national value of each volunteer hour is $27.20. So If you were to look at the amount of volunteers you had this last year or previous years or coming this next year, how many hours approximately, and did they volunteer? 3 hours on a Saturday morning times $27.20. You get that volunteer dollar. And so for Modesto, if we did our math correctly, $367,200 plus dollars that were donated to our community. Those numbers communicate to business people. Those numbers, you know, just those stats, they can't, you know, we need to tell stories too. We need to do a good job of storytelling. But on a brief, you know, we don't got people's attention very long sometimes. And so I want to encourage you all to utilize some of those resources and those numbers as you communicate to your community the difference and the impact that we are making together, you know. And I always say it that way. Hey, community, we're doing this together. Look at the difference that we are making. So, okay, I'm going to move on to our agenda here. You guys got this in your email. And number 2, the importance of a community-based model. So one of the most important distinctives of Love Our Cities is that we hold to this community-based model, not a church-based model. Let me explain. It's in your city leaders manual. If you haven't got one, just make sure I can send you one. If you haven't got one, I think everyone has one. But in there, there's this statement that says this: we are not just one church or multiple churches getting involved. In other words, the church doing this for the city, but we work hand in hand with our government, with education, neighborhoods, media, businesses, nonprofits, other faith and non-faith organizations to make this a community-wide effort, the church doing it with the city. We're not doing this for them. It's not an us versus them. It's we're in this together. We're working with you. And the reason why we do this, first of all, I think it's very scriptural, number one, but I also think if we're going to have the biggest amount of impact we have in our community, it just can't be a bunch of churches getting together serving the community. It can't just be one church serving the community. It can't just be a bunch of churches. It's got to be the whole community. Churches, my goal is for every city is to have as many churches involved as possible. No doubt about it. But it's also to have as many businesses involved and as many other organizations involved as possible. That's how we're going to make the maximum impact, you know, in our city. So how does that sound to you all? Is that, hopefully that's not new, or maybe if it is new, give me any feedback do you have on how that's working for you, or maybe how maybe that doesn't work for you. Overwhelmed, isn't it? Just great wisdom. You're overwhelmed. Come on, Mandy, save me. You're ready to say something.
I agree in theory. At least in Placentia, at times it's been harder to actually get most of our churches, which is the surprising thing, on board more than the city and the school district and the businesses. There's actually not that many churches in our city, which is part of it, but yes, I agree in theory. In practice, that is more challenging at times, just depending on the people involved.
You know, it's interesting what you said. I've heard this from other cities too. Churches are late adopters. Mm-hmm. And if some churches, if they don't have their branding on it, they don't want to play.
Yeah.
Especially the big churches, they got their own, they do their own volunteer day. They don't need someone else's, you know. But the city and the community seem to jump on board way more sometimes than other churches jumping on board.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good.
One thing that's helped us here in Patterson is the school district initiated this thing called Unite Patterson. It's called UP. And they meet every 2 months, and they're still doing it virtually on Zoom. And they just have all this representation from the community, and pastors can be there, all the different organizations, and you basically share what's going on. It's been this great vehicle for different things that we have done that haven't been a part of Love Our Cities, but just a few of us have tried to do here in town that has pulled everybody in on it. And so I look forward to the next time we do that, being able to start to put this forward. And it's nice because it didn't come from the church.
Yeah, that's good. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, here's a little exercise I want you guys to do. is when you go to, not right now, but when you go to your affiliates, your list of your affiliates on your website, you see all those affiliates that people indicated when they signed up for a project, what organization that they're affiliated with. If you look at all those affiliates, you'll see, and you can do this. I encourage you to break it down. How many of these affiliates are churches? How many of the affiliates are businesses? How many of the affiliates, deal with education, schooling, or how many of them are government? How many are nonprofits? Or, break it down in a way, and then you'll kind of get a good feel on how community-based that you are. And when I did this, obviously, many years ago, we were just very church-based. Like, it was our church and then a few, just other churches, that's how it was. But over time, our number of churches have not decreased. The community has increased. So we have about 500 affiliates on our website. And 2 weeks ago, I looked at it. I put them all in categories. 9% of our affiliates were churches. Only 9. I was thinking, oh man, surely it'd be way bigger than that. And I know we haven't lost churches. I know we keep gaining churches. But it just shows you how many more businesses are in our community, how many more organizations are in our community than just churches. Now, when I looked at I downloaded our volunteer information from this last October event, and I saw how many people signed up and how many people indicated what church, what organization they were from. For the event, 21% of the people indicated they were from a church. And so it just shows you that, obviously there's way more organizations, in the community than just churches. But for one event, churches have a lot of people, and a lot of businesses don't. And so that 21%, and I really think if we have a chance to get multiple affiliates, which I'm really hoping our website can do that, is add another line, that we'll get a more accurate picture. Because I think some business owner might go to a church, but he put his business name down because that's his business, So I don't think we have full. So I really feel like our numbers are more like maybe 40% are, from a church or, grounded in a church. But no doubt about it, we have evolved. And I think that's my heart for all of our cities, is that, the church is the core. The church drives this thing, but the church has to be open and inclusive of everyone to volunteer, to get involved, for a lot of different reasons. It gives a chance for us to share our faith. If we just have Christians signing up, what's the point? It's a good thing, but what an opportunity we have to share and live our faith among the whole community when we got all kinds of people signing up. So, all right, number 3, I'm gonna move on. How can Love Our Cities better support you and our city efforts? How can Love Our Cities better support you and our city efforts? So, this last year, a year ago, you guys and many people gave us, here's different ways that our website, we wish for our website. And every year we do this. We have a wish list for our website. And so we try to fulfill those. And this last year, I think we did. I think everything that was asked, we came through. Now, of course, a lot of us haven't utilized it a whole lot this last year because of everything not working. But it is there. It is done. There are a couple other things that, like I said, I want to do for this next year, is ask our developer if he can, have the ability to have multiple affiliates, so you can see if one person chooses, their church and their business or whatever, and the ability to download it too. Right now you can view it, but you really can't download the list, and that would help us. We could put the categories, but then it's another step for the volunteer. They just want to sign up for a project. We don't want to make their process too long to register. So I think I might leave it up to us to put, each one into their category, businesses and churches and all that we would want to do. But that's one thing. Autofill. I don't know if you guys have noticed this or if you ever heard any feedback on this, but we've had some volunteers who, when they sign up and register, and they it's autofill, they have their address and phone number and all that. Then they click to sign up for their project. It won't let them. There's some deficiency in that autofill. But when they got out of autofill and they just put the information in, it did send them through. So we've got to work on that. And I'm assuming that's going to be an easy fix. The next thing I have is time stamping when someone signs up for a project. I want to know how many people sign up in January, how many people in February, and March. I just want some good data on how people are signing up, when they're signing up, and email-wise. I don't want people to get the same email from me a bunch of times. If I know when they sign up, here's when I sent the email, I can send another email to people that did not get that first email. Does that make sense? So I think having a timestamp and be able to see that in the download on that Excel file would be a help. Any other things that you guys can think of? Go ahead, Lynn.
Yes, because we so shifted our serve day, and I pretty much was the project leader per se on everything, because we weren't really doing projects. What I really needed to have is a way when you're sending out an email to all the team that you have a box you can check that you will also get the email, because I wasn't getting the email. I didn't know if it went through. So I was having to put myself as a volunteer on every project, not that there were that many, there were quote 7 signups, to make sure that the emails went through. I need some kind of, a box to check. Yes, you want this to include you, so you know that it went through and that it was communicated. Otherwise, we could have had some glitches, but that'd be a big, big help.
Well, I think that would be an easy fix too. Just so that you're carbon copied on all emails sent out. I don't think you need to have an option to do it or not. I just think every email you send out, you should be able to see the email that was sent out. So
yes, absolutely.
Okay, that's a great suggestion.
I was putting my husband on all the emails, and then he was communicating to me that they went out. But then it shows as a volunteer, so I'm like, there's got to be a better way.
Yeah. All right, that should be an easy fix. Anyone else have any other? I'm getting other ideas from the other calls as well, and we're gonna, accumulate those and do what we can to make this website the best that it can possibly be. I was asked this question this last week: what are the most important website and technology features that we have available to you? Is there anything we're missing? So, in answering that question, I'm planning to having a forum next Wednesday from this last meeting, next Wednesday, 8 o'clock, so the 28th, and just about our website. What can our website do? What can't it do? Maximizing our website capabilities. I know there's a lot of desire, especially COVID is really driving this, is ongoing throughout the year. How can our website be better at ongoing throughout the year? There are, you can put any date, you can add things, any date you want to do. Some projects aren't dated though. Some are they just need to be there, not have a date. And when Jay from Fullerton, he says, I just put a date and just, renew the date if I need to, but maybe there's a better way to do this. So, after that last call, I was like, we need to have a forum here soon to make sure this website is the best it can be. And if it's not, we can refer to something else that can be better. But I think we have the capability to do that. So I'll be sending an email out here before the day is done and saying, hey, next Wednesday, if you're available, 8 o'clock. If not, we're going to record it. But I really want to really zero in on a website and our technology. Every year, technology changes, and we have to stay up on this. If not, we're going to be irrelevant. And so just even what you said, Lynn, we've got to fix that. That has to be a no-brainer. Our email part of the website has got to be better, and it's gotten better, but there's still room for improvement, of course. Okay, so city lead forums. Okay, how can our lover cities better support you in your city efforts? We're going to have more of these city leader forums. I think in January, very beginning of January, I'd like to do a forum on COVID projects, on COVID project ideas. I've been hearing from other cities about some of the really creative things that everybody's doing, and it's been really cool. So I think, as we're going into this next year, I think it'd be really encouraging for you all to hear from others and get you ideas as well, because we can do something, and our cities are needing, our cities have been ignored. I don't know about you, but man, the trash around our highways and our street, there's just been neglect that's for these last 7 months. So man, there are opportunities to do things. So I think, again, if we can learn from each other on how we're doing it, it might not work exactly the same in every city, of course, but I think we have a lot to share, a lot of wisdom to share. So I'm going to plan that for early January as we're getting our projects, together. I also want to do a thing on virtual rallies, on how to do a virtual rally and the technology behind it, and just some ideas on how to make it as impactful, effective as possible. One quick thought on that is not to do it live. Film it a couple of days ahead of time, or a day before, whatever, and make sure you can add the graphic features and things that make it even more professional. I think that's one thing we learned that can make it even better. And then, hey, here's another idea I have for you guys is, you know, look at other cities' websites. If you go to lovercities.org, you see the 90+ cities that we're helping. Click on some of those cities and get ideas from other cities about looking at their websites. That's what I do. I learn from you guys. I got so many of the ideas that we do here is from all your cities. And you have that same opportunity to learn from the other cities' websites and other cities' social media too. I'm always trying to figure out how can we have the most compelling social media posts? Well, it's looking at a lot of what you guys post and getting ideas what we could post as well. I think I put most of you, if not all of you, on the Modesto emails that go out. I don't do that because I want you to get involved in Modesto. I do it so you can see some of the things that we're doing and get ideas from us. Please put my email address, jeff@lovercities.org, on any mass emails you send out. I want to get those mass emails. I want to get ideas from you. And some of those ideas I get from you, I want to put on our city leaders page. And I'm going to refer to that in just a little bit, show you that in just a little bit here. But on our city leaders page, you can see the best of ideas from all of our cities. And so please put me on your email, mass email stuff, so I can, get that down and send it out to others. Any questions or thoughts? All right. I'm on my third meeting and I'm getting weary. I got one more to go. All right. Number 4, the importance of loving our cities. This is my favorite thing here, because I believe so much in what we're doing. I believe that God has placed us all at this time in history. And this time during COVID, it's the worst of times, but in a sense, it's the best of times. It's the most opportunities that we have, that I believe, since the recession that we had, 12 or so years ago, for our communities need us. And I don't know if it was said earlier this call, but we're like that neutral convener. God is, placed us in a way that we can bring all kinds of people together for the good of our cities. And so, man, in these crazy and divisive times that we live, man, our cities and our country, needs us all to come together, right? It needs us to come together on something. And I believe that something is loving and bettering our cities. It's a common good, thing that we can all get behind. Do you know anyone who's against volunteerism? Anyone against bettering their community? It doesn't matter how Republican or how Democrat you are. It doesn't matter what you are in between. We can come. This is one thing that I think God could really use and is using to bring our communities together. So I got good news to tell you. Love our cities. And I shared this a little bit in the last May call, but Love Our Cities is its own organization now. So when you hear me talk about Modesto, that's a separate organization. Love Our Cities is its own organization, and I'm going to be spending a large amount of my time with Love Our Cities now. I love my community, and I'm still going to stay involved in my community, no doubt about it, and doing the efforts we have here. But a large amount of my time is really, hopefully starting January 1, is really going to be moving towards this. And what does that mean for you? Well, first of all, it means I want to serve you more. I want to serve you the best I can. I want to do some one-on-one check-ins more. I haven't done that. Like Mandy, I see you twice a year. I haven't called you in between the year. I was busy running my own town and trying to survive and all this. Well, I get the chance, I believe coming this next year is to spend some time and say, hey, how are you doing? What are you struggling with? Tell me about that church thing. Okay, here's some ideas and maybe to kind of connect with other churches. And I don't know, whatever I can do to help. I want to come alongside each city to do those check-ins, to do these forums, to do more of these kind of topical forums that are relevant, that we all need some help with, some trainings. The city leader interviews. I love the interview that we did with Eric Johnson with Central Coast. Anybody get to see that? And then we did an interview with Nathan at Anaheim. And then I've got another one I just did with Matt from Albuquerque, New Mexico. And so I want to do an interview with each of you, and so that you can hear from another city. And you guys are the most amazing people. You really are. And for you don't know that. You see each other on the screen, but I'm telling you, if you get to know the story behind the person, and why they're doing what they're doing and some of the things they're doing, I know is going to be encouraging. And we have to do that. So I'm really excited about, spending more time getting those together. And then certainly keeping our technology up to date, like I just said. We've got to do better at this. We've got to really make sure we're maximizing our technology, capabilities. So two things: serving you all the best I can, and then number two is reaching out to new cities. I mean, we honestly, we haven't really given it our tons of our best effort in reaching out to new cities. Cities have called us. We haven't really reached out to cities. What if we did? What if we came up with a marketing plan, a way that we can do the best job we can to reach out as many cities as possible, not only in California, not only in our country, but all over our world. And that's how I'm dreaming right now. I turned 50 years old a couple of weeks ago, and I feel like I got 20 great years left. Maybe more, John. I think maybe I got 25 years left. I got 30. I don't know. I don't see me.
I hope so, because I'd be done. I would have been done 6 months ago when I turned 70, I guess, according to your time.
So you're not done. Yes,
you're not dreaming big enough, Jeff.
Okay. All right. I got 30 years left. But here's what I feel, and who knows what God's going to do. It's not, I just know my heart is I want to give the rest of my life to this. And I want to do everything I can to reach as many cities possible for people to see the real love and compassion of Jesus. is not to see all the fighting and the dividing and all that. When the people think of churches, they don't have good opinions, unfortunately, good experiences. Well, this is giving people a good experience about what church is, and what Jesus is all about. And so that's what I'm committed to. I've been talking to the people at Movement Day. They've got a dream of 1,000 cities in the next 10 years. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's my dream too. What if in the next 10 years, we could reach, 1,000 cities? So I'm having some great talks with people at Mission India. What would it look like for Love, whatever the town in India? And they're telling me like, that works. No matter where at in the world, Love, whatever the city name is, just works. People want to have pride in their community, and for the church to lead the way in doing that. And so I'm super excited and committed to doing this. John mentioned earlier about a book that we're writing. And man, I don't know if you've ever written a book before, but it's hard, but it's also really good. And this thing is coming together here. I'm hoping by next year, this book will be done and will be out. We'll have a corresponding video that goes with it, which I'm trying to include some of you in this story as well, or as many of our city leaders as possible in this story. The book's going to be titled Love Our Cities. I mean, that's the title. So we're going to give it our best shot, and whatever God does, I'm good. I just know I just want to be obedient and try to make the biggest difference for him that I can with the few days, years I have left here. And to see other people jump on board, because I don't want this to be about me. This vision is not, my name's not on this thing, because I can come and go tomorrow, but I believe God's going to keep moving this thing forward. One more thing. It's really cool. This last year, we were honored and recognized. There's like 20 or so nonprofits that were recognized in California as being the nonprofit of the year. And we received one of those awards. We received recognition to be California Nonprofit of the Year. So how cool is that? It's almost like, again, reassurance. It's just affirming, okay, God, what are you doing here? There's something about what our state is seeing and what our, even locally here, they're seeing that, hey, we're helping a lot of cities. And there's a whole lot more cities that need loving. Especially, who knows, these next couple of weeks, man, there's going to be a lot of opportunities to do loving in our cities, and not dividing, but loving and bringing people together. So I think, again, I'm excited for next year, because I believe God's going to use all of us in our cities in a really powerful way. So in order for all this to happen, if I can be honest with you, there's going to be more cost with Love Our Cities, because guess what? I've got insurance stuff. We got legal stuff. We got the trademarking stuff going on, accounting stuff that I've never had to do before. We've got, obviously, with bookkeeping, admin and salary stuff that we're going to have to deal with. And so my appeal to you is please keep doing what you've been doing. And my ask is, could you consider donating $250 more than what you have been giving? So we've been asking, if you look at our cities, I'll show you here our donation page. Here it is. Oh, Jeff. Oh, no, that's it. That's right here. Do you see they click on the right one, the City Leaders Sponsoring Organization? Everybody see that? Give me a thumbs up if you see it. Very good. So every year we have this sponsoring organization, this contract that you sign, and hey, I have a Christian faith. I'm going to be at these meetings, all that kind of stuff. And then we have this spot here where we say, hey, here's the donation. Here's the template we have is for cities less than 50. We tier it. You know, if you're less than 50,000, 750,000, and all that. Not everybody, you know, I'll share this here. I was a youth pastor for years. And so when you're a youth pastor, you want as many kids to go on the retreat as possible, right? You don't want to turn anybody away. So wherever you're at, I'm not kicking anybody out. This is a ministry. This isn't a business. And so whatever you can give, awesome. If you can give more to make up for those who can't give, you know, hey, because there'll be certainly some that aren't able to give more. Or it's even a struggle to give what you've been giving. Totally understand. I do ask you, you know, and we're asking for this in 11 days, October, was it 11? Yeah, or 9 days. October 31 is that due date every year. So it might be too soon, and that's fine. That's fair. At least budget for next year. If you could do that, that would help us out. We want to serve you more and serve you better. And so we're just asking for a little more support so that we can do that. And trust me, guys, I'm doing everything I can to fundraise outside of our cities. You know, this doesn't just support us. So our golf tournament, our auction, and things like that we do is also supporting this effort. And then guess what? If you get other cities on board, like we say every year, you get a $250 incentive. So $250 is taken off of your annual donation if you get another city on board. So if you get, you know, 3 cities on board, and if you're going to give $750, you don't have to give anything that year, because that helps us obviously with more cities being on board. And you guys are our best ambassadors. You're the best. Why other cities have jumped on board and we haven't really marketed this thing is because you all have talked to other cities around your city and said, hey, you should check this out. So any questions you have? How does that sound to you? Awesome. Well, hey, I'm super excited that I get to work with you guys more, and just to be with you more and to help more. And I know you're going to help me as much as I helped you, like you have been for sure. All right, let's move to number 4. Going deeper and farther with Love Our Cities. So the first thing is I shared with you our City Leaders Resource page. And that is on the screen right now. So for those of you that new, now Peter, you're new at this, a lot of this is new information for you, but we got this page here that we put together. And I think I alluded to it earlier. We're trying to get the best of ideas from all the cities and putting it into one place. And that's what we tried to do here. And so, and we also added some other features too, to make this as easy for you as possible to lead your city. So we got this Love Our Cities Volunteer Day Planner right here on the documentation page. You know, what that is, hey, you know, Peter, you're 9 months out from Love Patterson. What should I be doing right now? Okay, you'll see it. You're 8 months out. You're 6 months out. We have this whole planner here. You know, we got a survey. Here's an example of the survey that we did, example of flyers that we've done. You know, there's marketing media ideas that you guys have shared, you know, with us before. Here's hats and all that kind of stuff, you know, all kinds of, from other cities too, we put up there. Project ideas. Now we got COVID, so we should have a COVID project ideas area, which we might need to do that. This website tutorial. So for you that are new to our website, we've got a tutorial. You don't have to call me and say, hey, I can't figure out how to move this thing over here. I'm going to ask you, hey, have you gone through the tutorial yet? Because it's in there. Eric did an amazing job of putting each of these together, walking you through the website and how to exactly do what you want to do, you know, on this website here. So this City Resource page, it really is a gem. It's really one of the things you're paying for in a sense, you know, that kind of wisdom experience that's going into supporting your city. So I hope that you will visit it. And if you can also let me know what it's lacking, what is needed more on there. And if you have ideas to contribute, please, we need those. I mean, that's what makes this page. It's your page. So if you can help me with that, I would appreciate that. Love Our City added benefits and features and benefits. So we just learned from all of you guys, and as well as from us. There's a lot of, you know, national businesses that we are received a lot of favor from. They have been very generous. Apple Store, wherever you're located, with their discounts, but also their volunteer matching program. And then they match their volunteers. I forget what it is, but we get a nice check from them every time we do any volunteer thing. if their employees are volunteering, which they are, that we get a check in the mail. The same thing with Starbucks. You know, they got a volunteer matching program too. Other businesses, a lot of local businesses. I know Gallo here locally has a volunteer matching program. You might want to ask around your local bank or others if they have volunteer matching programs. That's free money. You're doing nothing, and they're sending you a check. Disney tickets. Of course, Disneyland's closed right now, but it might be open again someday. I don't know. I hope it will be. But every year we get 20 free tickets, one-day hopper tickets. They're $200+ value tickets. And we give those out as, you know, fun things at our, you know, rally and things like that. But also our golf tournament, we auction those off. That's what helps supporting Love Our Cities is we auction off a lot of these tickets this last year, and we got a lot of money for it. You know, you put a 8-ticket pack together, people can bid pretty high on those kind of things. Cornerstone is that credit card processing company. If you know, want to get the best rate for your credit processing, so you're not paying 3% to whoever else out there, Cornerstone, we found is like the best processing company that we could find. They're Christian people run it, but they also give us the best rate that we could find. And they work with your local businesses. If they sign up, they give you a kickback. So every month we get over $500 check from a local business, and we do nothing. It's free money that business signed up for Cornerstone. What I found is it's hard for businesses. They don't want to change their processing company though. So we try to market this to other businesses, and a lot of them are like, we're fine. It's too busy. We're not, you know, too much time. But if you can get one to get on board, man, it is a huge benefit. And we just use it personally. When people donate to us, we use it as well. Walmart, Target, man, they give so much. Especially if you get to know the manager, and they change all the time, which is hard. But the more that you get to know the managers of these places, they give you whatever you want. Like Starbucks will give you as much coffee as you want. You just got to get to know the manager a little bit. And they, you know, this community-wide effort, they buy into. If it was just a church-wide effort, they would not be giving like this. But it's a community-wide effort, so that's why they're behind these efforts here. Home Depot has been very generous, and Lowe's. Chick-fil-A, someone brought up Chick-fil-A. I forgot about them, but if you have a Chick-fil-A, I know they're really generous as well. And they're really good too. I love Chick-fil-A. Any other regional or national chains that you guys have found to be helpful in donating?
Trader Joe's, Brock.
Who's that?
Trader Joe's is one of the most generous organizations in the local community you'll find. Yeah. They're kind of like Starbucks. They just give.
You know, interesting. Here in our town, the Trader Joe's hasn't been that way. They wanted us to jump through all kinds of hoops, and it just hasn't. It's just been. It'll give us like bags or something. I mean, it's been. You know, it's nothing like our local Save Mart. They will give so much more. So, you know, maybe it depends where you live. It depends on the manager too.
It probably is the manager, Jeff.
Yeah.
You're probably right.
Yeah.
It's a relationship give.
Yeah. But I love Trader Joe's. We go there every week. Okay, almost done here. So organic outreach, that's the next thing on this flyer here, is organic outreach. And I share this every meeting we have, but I really believe in it. It's an organization, it's in the Central Coast, but it's a nationwide, it's national. I mean, it's international. People come from, they have these conferences. It's about sharing your faith, not just living your faith, but sharing your faith. And organic outreach has partnered with us to put together these 3 videos and these study guides that we put together, the study guides with the videos, but we give these to churches. And this has been one of the biggest wins with churches, that some churches go, oh man, you're all about, you know, volunteering and, you know, in actions, but how come you're not sharing? Why aren't you about evangelism? Have you heard that from any churches? I've heard that from some. And I could say, hold on now, let me explain all that's been going on. And let me tell you a couple stories, but also let me give you this resource here, this evangelism training, these 3 videos here that you can give to your church people in small groups and things like that. So they can be prepared to share their faith while they're out volunteering, and not just sharing their, but listening first. That's what I love about these videos. It's not about yapping all the time. It's about listening to people and asking questions and being a friend. But then obviously sharing why you're doing what you're doing. So this resource right here has allowed me to keep some churches supporting us, if I can just be honest with you. And not that those churches use this resource. They want it, but they don't always use it. But it reassures them, oh, we are still committed to living and sharing our faith. We're not just a social organization. This resource right here, when I give that to them, they're like, okay, we're still going to keep supporting you. So you might find that as well. Online donations, if you don't have a way to receive online donations, we have an account with Giving Fuel that we signed up for that we'd love to help you with. You might have it on your website, online donations. If you don't, you should have online donations. People want to give online. But Giving Fuel we found is really the best company for us to use. And if we could help set you up as well. And I don't believe there's any charge, whatsoever for you to do that. We already have the account. We paid for the account to do that. Any questions? Any suggestions? Any final thoughts? Lynn.
Question. The city stories that you've been doing interviews, are those on like a YouTube channel, or where are those at?
Yes, we just started a Lover Cities YouTube channel. And so I will send that out because I have not done that yet because we just started it. But yeah, those videos will be on there. And then I'm also going to send out Albuquerque, the latest one I did with Matt, which is really phenomenal. But the one with Nathan in Anaheim, man, what he's doing, he's just killing it there. I mean, he's inspiring me. Like, we got to be so much more than a volunteer day. We've got to be doing more throughout the year. So he was doing a lot of, pre-COVID, he was doing so much of this stuff, and then with Eric in Central Coast, man, what a great interview. I mean, he is such a crazy, amazing guy and just making a huge difference in the Central Coast area. So yeah, I will be, make sure that's on our YouTube page, but also send that out that way. Okay. So look at upcoming. Oh yeah.
Jeff, I just want to say congratulations on, focusing on Love Our Cities and stuff. I know you've worked so hard with that, and I'm just really, I'm so proud of you and all the great work that you've done and supporting us. And you already support us a lot. So, focusing on us even more is greatly appreciated by us. And I just want to say great job and congratulations on all of that.
Thank you, Stephanie. I think the world of you and Chris and what you guys are doing and what you've been doing and some of the ideas that I've stolen from you, I appreciate so much as well. I think last call I brought up the banner that you guys made, We Love Slow, and put up in City Hall. We did that too. I mean, again, I think that's how we work best. That's why I love these calls. You guys get to hear from each other because we get ideas from each other. None of us are that smart on our own to figure this out. We need mutual support here. So, all right, upcoming dates. So October 31, we have a hard, mid-November, we have to give our developer a check for your website. So we have we need your annual contract and donations by October 31 every year. And I feel free, I would love to talk to you, each of you individually, if you want, about, hey, this is what we can do. This is what we can't do. I get it. I mean, I get where you're at. So please feel free to call me. Mandy.
I have a quick question. So for some of us in Southern California, OC United pays our fees, but there's no way for me to fill out the contract without paying because it's a required payment at the bottom. Okay. So what would your suggestion be?
My suggestion is for me to undo the required thing so you can fill out the contract.
Great.
And then tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. I'm talking to Jay about how OC United is going to be paying this year.
Yeah, so, he contacted us to confirm, like, you want me to pay your fee, right? And so a number of us have affirmed that with him. So yeah, that would be cool.
So I'm talking to him tomorrow morning, but I need to unrequire that because I do want you, and not necessarily you, because I know you, but other cities that come in that maybe have some, I want them to, every one of our cities, we are Christian faith-based. That's who we are. And there's a whole lot of other faiths and other backgrounds that want to lead this. And we're saying, no, this is who we are. This isn't just a social organization. We love Jesus. I mean, but we do it in a way that certainly wants everybody involved, in a sense, volunteering and stuff. So I want everyone who leads this to say, hey, I have an orthodox Christian faith. And that's hugely important that we stay that way. So yes, I will unlock it to make sure you can sign up. Thank you. Sorry about that. I didn't know that. Okay. Okay, and so y'all see our dates for next year. Every year I get emails and texts from the night before from city leaders saying, oh, do we have a meeting tomorrow? So I always put it down here, May, the 3rd Thursday in May and the 3rd Thursday in October. Every year, those are our 2 required all city leader meetings. So please put those 2 dates down in your calendar so you have that there. And I'll do some reminders, of course. But I love these meetings like this. And I like how they divide up in 4 calls because it really, we get more attention. In the past, we used to do 1 call and it was just too big. But it's kind of cool. We get to hear from each other more with it divided up like this. That's all I got. Anybody else got anything else? All right. Well, blessings to y'all. I appreciate y'all so much. Thank you for allowing me to serve alongside of you. And I'm super excited for this next year, whatever God's going to bring our way. Let's do it together. Okay. We're in this together. All right, guys. Have a great day.
Take care, everyone.